It's Wednesday night, December 9th. We're here for window shopping at the Sewing Basket. We're a few minutes early. We are going to go ahead and just start talking a little bit to let everybody have a little bit of time to come on. Kathy's phone just dinged, so she got her notification to join the group. And we'll be going through a number of different things tonight, but we wanted to get up and just get started so that you can connect and be ready to go when we start in just a few minutes. One of the things that you might want to do this evening, it's going to be a little different, is grab a pad of paper and a pencil, because you might want to make a note or two on just what we're doing as we go through things or things that you like. So a piece of paper might be handy because of the changes that we've made. And I'll start talking about those in a few minutes. We just want to give everybody time to get on the live right now. Many of you might have seen this picture of the pillow that I posted yesterday. Gave you a little bit of a hint that we're going to be talking about pillows and also last minute gifts. This one, if you didn't notice, is made out of ties. So it's kind of a cool project, and we're going to be talking about how to do that and a number of other things. You can turn it this way too. That's really exciting. Really makes no difference either way, but it's kind of a fun project. So right now I'm just rambling in order to be sure that everybody is on. Hopefully volume is good. Everybody should be able to hear. Mic issues are fixed. So if your computer is turned up or your mobile phone is turned up, everybody should be able to hear us okay. A little thumbs up or a heart icon would help us know that that's true, but we should be in good shape. I've got green lights everywhere, so we should be good. And we've got just a couple minutes yet before we get started. Anybody who has any questions, feel free to type those in, and we'll answer what we can as we go along. We're going to be here live on Facebook, but we're also going to be talking a fair bit about our website. If you are on early and are on a computer or an iPad and you want to have two windows open, if you open a second window for sewingbasket.biz, that's B as in business, I-Z as in zebra, and go to the shopping page, you'll see all of the products we're going to talk about tonight in the first category called window shopping. And I'll go through all that later. But if you're a little bit computer savvy, you can open that second window right now. It kind of makes it easy to move back and forth. And that's kind of what we'll be doing as we go through things this evening. And looks like I got to talk for another 30 seconds before we get started. Kathy, do we have at least 3 or 4 people watching us?
Yeah, 26.
All right, 26. Woohoo! Thanks for joining us this evening. We appreciate it. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started 22 seconds early, just because we can. And welcome everybody. As I said, I'm Elaine from the Sewing Basket in Plymouth, Wisconsin. And if you've been with us before, we've done live videos on Facebook now for quite a while, a couple years, more this year than previous years. And we also had started doing live sales or live shopping events back in July. And we've done one every 3 or 4 weeks since then. And we had used a different format. And that was where you could make comments and actually purchase items right here from Facebook. As we have moved along over the last number of months and looked at what we're doing with our online shopping and how it's managed and how to make things easier and more fun for you, we've decided to make a little bit of a change. And when we looked at all of the videos online from other stores, other industries, the comment and purchase from Facebook, it starts to feel like, buy this, look at number 102, look at number 103, and it gets to be a little bit hectic, and it's more about you making purchases. And don't get me wrong, it's wonderful if you do, we sure appreciate that, but what we wanted to do is turn this back into a little bit more of a give and take. We're going to move everything back to our website, so any purchasing this evening, you're going to go to sewingbasket.biz, go to the shopping page, and I've got a little picture here. This is the homepage of our website, and it's sewingbasket.biz. Right across the top, you'll see a menu that says Shop. You click on that shop button and it takes you to a page that says window shopping at the top. Down the left-hand side, there's a group of categories. You'll see the very first category, one says all products, but the very first one at the top of the list, it says window shopping December 9th. All of the products that I'm talking about this evening will come up in that category. So as you see things you're interested in, you can click over to that tab and make a purchase, or you can jot it down. As I said, if you keep a piece of paper handy, you can make a note of something that you're interested in and purchase it from the website rather than commenting in Facebook. So you will not be seeing item numbers tonight. You will not be seeing me hold up things that say item number 203. We're not doing it that way. What we're going to do is go through a variety of projects. We're going to show you different things. One of the advantages to that is it uses technology. It lets us do live videos like we're doing. It lets us post those videos on YouTube and on our website on the Daily Dose page. It lets us group things together. So we set up a group tonight in YouTube called Window Shopping. So if you go to YouTube, our channel is called The Sewing Basket. Click the subscribe button and the little bell if you'd like to be notified when we go live and when new videos are posted. But what we did is we set up a group called a playlist for window shopping, and there's 9 different videos in there on all of the techniques, or many of the techniques I'm going to be talking about tonight. So there are certain things where I'm going to say we're going to use a bias tape maker to do this. I'm not going to show you how to do every step of the bias tape maker because we already have a video on that. So there's no reason to take up your time this evening. You can just click over to our YouTube channel and watch it there when you have time. All right? So that's kind of how things will work. The advantage to that is we don't spend so much time entering all of these products for you to be able to bid on number 102 or 103, and it just gets a little bit fast-paced. We can slow it down, we can talk about what we're doing, but also it puts all of our product in one place. So for instance, if I show you a project and I say it's made out of fat quarters, and I show you a bundle of fat quarters that you can purchase, you may look at that and have no interest in those fat quarters. You don't like the color, you don't like the style. When you're on our website, one of our categories is fabric. You can pick the fat quarter category, and there's 40 or 50 bundles of fat quarters. So you might say, oh, I love that project she did, but I don't like those fat quarters. By being on our website, you can go to that category and choose what you do like. And we didn't have to enter it all into a different system to be able to do that. So you're going to purchase from sewingbasket.biz if there's anything that you want. We're broadcasting on Facebook. Those of you who have friends that might not be on Facebook, we post to the Daily Dose page on our website. Tomorrow morning this video will be up there, so you can share with any of your friends after that. I hope that made sense. I think I covered most everything. I'm just double checking my notes here. Thank you for your patience with me. And I think we are pretty well set to go. Does anybody have any questions, Kathy? Make sense so far?
Lots of thumbs up.
Lots of thumbs up. Wonderful. I hope that this works out well for both of us, or all of us, I should say. We just wanted it to be a give and take. We want to be able to teach you things. We want to inspire your creativity. We hope in turn that you'll support us and also share pictures of the projects you make. Our Facebook groups, we have a Sewing Basket Quilting group and a Sewing Basket Embroidery group. Everybody loves to show and share pictures there. We hope you join us in those groups too. So I'm going to set this little pillow aside for a few minutes. I'm going to talk about that in a little while and start with a few other projects. Oop. Sorry, I just knocked down a zipper foot. We don't want that to happen. So when I started with a topic for this evening, my original thought was pillows. Pillows make great gifts. They're easy to make. You can make them quick. We've only got 2 weeks till the holidays start, and I've got time to be able to make those gifts if I want to. So I thought, oh, we'll call this Pillow Talk. Yep, kind of a cute little title. And then I started thinking about it and thought, yeah, but a lot of people are going to say, I don't want to make pillows. Well, you can make a pillow that's flat. And guess what? If you don't stuff a pillow, it can be a wall hanging. It can be a hot pad. What's that lady talking about? Let's show you a couple things. This is, those of you who know the coaster method, where you've got squares that are just folded and you make these cute little mug rugs or hot pads. Bigger one is a hot pad. They are cute. This is one of the projects that's on the playlist in YouTube. It's called Coasters, Trivets, and now it says Coasters, Trivets, and Pillows. So here I have a coaster and a trivet. What does that have to do with a pillow? Well, guess what? This is a trivet that's just stuffed. And all we did was put a button on it to hold the center closed. This was a, what do we have? This was a 12-inch square. This one is 14-inch square. This one is a 6-inch square. And this little guy turns into a pin cushion if I stuff it. So all I do is open this up, stuff it with batting, and sew a little button in, and I have a pin cushion. So I have a pillow, I have a pin cushion, I have a trivet, and I have a coaster. So we didn't just make a pillow, we can make all of those things from basically the same project. So what we're looking at is we have the face of our pillow and then we have our back. And how we back it is what determines what we end up making. So you're gonna laugh as I do this, but these are just gonna go out of the way. Don't call me Eleanor Burns, she always threw stuff over her shoulder, but it gets it out of the way fast. So that is the start of what we're up to. Many of you are familiar with just plain pillowcases. These are just a couple cute pillowcases. We do have kits. This we kind of laughed and said it reminds us of Santa visiting George Jetson. And Santa and the spaceships, the little penguins with a cute striped little flange. Both of these we have a couple of kits on. Again, they are in the window shopping category on the website. And they work out great. I also posted our pillowcase pattern on the website. The pillowcase pattern that we do is nice. It uses 1.25 yards of fabric, but you can use directional fabric. So the pattern can be running either way and you still have your pillowcase turn out the way that you want. So you get a stripe that runs in the right direction. And it's a quick little pattern. It is also set up as downloadable so you can get it right away if you want to. The other great thing about pillowcases this time of year, a lot of times you have odd-shaped gifts. These make great gift bags. You can put the gift inside, just tie a bow around it. If you're dropping gifts because you're not going to be together with loved ones, a little pillowcase for each of the kids with their toys inside. The wrap packages can be right inside. This one goes to Susie, next one goes to Johnny. So they make great gift bags. I also tend to make pillowcases if I have fabric left when I make a quilt. If I give a quilt as a gift, the pillowcase becomes the storage bag for the quilt. So I like to do either a throw pillow or two or a pillowcase that matches the quilt that I'm making. Makes just a really nice addition to the gift. All right, now we have, what do I do? Excuse me one second. What do I do with a quilt that has a spot on it? A quilt that maybe was well loved and there's only a few pieces that are nice yet? Or a quilt that just wasn't quite turning out the way that I liked it to? I can turn it into pillows. I can do that very easily with my square up ruler. So that's my pillow. Okay? Notice I didn't cut it square. This piece came there. I just took my ruler and I put it cockeyed. That's one, and the other one I made rectangular. Okay? So I can take an old quilt and I know it's sacrilege to cut old quilts, but sometimes you have old quilts and you have no idea who made them or where they came from. They were just good picnic quilts, or you found one at a rummage sale and it's damaged. You wanted to rescue it and save it. Well, you can save it and it can turn into really cute pillows as well. So on these, all I did, lay out the quilt. I grabbed one of my square up rulers. This one's a 12.5, and I just decided I'm going to put it around that star in kind of a wonky fashion instead of lining it up so straight. And oh, by the way, if I do that, I don't have to worry about it being straight. It's supposed to be crooked, so if I'm off by a little, it really doesn't matter. I can go back and take one out of here. I could make that square if I wanted to, or I could do this cockeyed too and have a whole little couch of fun little different shaped pillows. So this also leads into the idea of memory projects. Memory projects to me are things that mean something to me. It could be pieces of an old quilt, it could be family doilies or tablecloths, different things like that. It could be Grandpa's ties, like that first red and black pillow. So all of those items make wonderful Christmas gifts. If you only have 2 weeks left, but you have time to make some gifts. If you have clothing left over, if a loved one has passed, my dad passed a number of years ago. He absolutely loved wide wale corduroy pants. He didn't wear fancy clothes, but he always loved those warm corduroy pants in the winter time. They make wonderful, wonderful quilt blocks and pillows. And it's a wonderful project to be able to take that and be able to make something that would mean something. I could make pillows out of those, give them to his granddaughter, give one to my brother. Those would really mean something. They would remind him of Dad, and it's a nice gift, thoughtful gift from somebody who cares about you. So look at clothing, even blue jeans. Blue jeans are great if you've got, use the pockets, make a pillow with a pocket on it, and tuck a note or a picture of the loved one inside the pocket when you give the gift. Again, ties work great, really cute projects. So think about what you've got. A lot of times Grandpa had maybe a lot of flannel shirts or plaid shirts. Mix those plaids together and just make fun throw pillows. You can do anything from really small pillows. Don't forget really big ones. The kids love those laying on the floor watching TV. So don't stop at an 18-inch pillow if you don't want to. Make them big and go from there. So think about memory items that you have that you can use to make pillows or what we'll call flat pillows, other projects. These could also be framed. These could also turn into placemats. Excuse me, I could use them as hot pads. I could also cut the small pieces and make them into coasters. So any of those ideas work great for memory items. If you have any questions, feel free to type them out. We'll see if we can get to answering them. Thank you very much. All right, next thing I'm going to talk about is the simplest of all pillows. This is a square from a panel, and I just added about a 4-inch border all the way around. I added a 4-inch border because I wasn't quite sure how big I wanted to make it. So a lot of times I'll make it just a little bit larger, and then I'll decide once I see the perspective of how big the block is, how wide the border is. I can always trim it down later if I want to. So this is simple, cutting out a square. The gold border on here and the red were actually printed on the panel. And so by stitching the green, leaving myself 3/4 of an inch of that red all the way around, made it look like I pieced in that red line. And I really didn't work that hard. So that came from a real pretty little panel. And I just knocked my foot on the floor again. This one is just a pretty, called Comfort and Joy. And it would make great placemats, cute pillows, could even be a wall hanging. Also, obviously, you can make quilts out of fabric too. So a real simple project is just grabbing a panel that you like and just putting borders on it. We're going to talk about adding the back in a few minutes, but now I'm going to go through really quickly. I'm going to set my cutting mat aside for just a moment, and this is where you're going to be really happy that I'm not saying this is item number 102 and this is item number 103, because it really doesn't matter. I'm going to just hold them up quickly. All of these are on the website. They are either in the window shopping category, or there is also a category called panels, and these are just the perfect size for nice big sofa pillows. Okay, yep. This is the one I just showed you. Again, Comfort and Joy. This one is Yuletide Botanicals. This one is really fun because there's all different shapes. So I can make my pillows all different shapes. I can use multiple pieces. I can make them wide. I can make them tall. Just a really pretty option. This one also. And again, remember all of these blocks, they could be coasters, they can be mug rugs, they can be hot pads, they can be used in tote bags. You can frame them and put them on the wall. This one is just calling, use that bottom row of birds to make a rectangular shaped pillow. This one is really fun. What I want to do with this one is grab that ruler again, and I'd probably use my 16 or 18 inch. If I was making pillows for probably a high school age or college aged young man, or a lady who likes black and white, I would just take this ruler and plunk it in all different places, and I'd have a whole series of throw pillows that would look, everyone would be completely different based on where I cut it out. So that would make a really neat set of pillows. This one is a nice little kids one, a Noah's Ark. I can do whatever I want. I wouldn't have to put the whole ark on one pillow. That might be a little big. I could actually split it and have the front of the ark be one pillow, the back of the ark be another, and the animals be other pieces, that the kids could actually arrange the pillows in an order that they like and turn it into a little bit of a toy. These little guys are still with me. We've got just a couple left. These are just fun, especially for cottages up north. Really fun little pillows. Who did not have water balloons when they were a kid at the cottage up north? Just a fun panel. Unicorns are so popular with the young kids right now. And these are just really pretty. Would be cute pillows. Again, could go into a quilt, a wall hanging. Just a fun project. And this last one is just really pretty songbirds. These would be beautiful coasters or little mug rugs. And I could use multiple blocks and make bigger pillows with multiple birds on them. I can frame them out. I can do whatever I want because I know how to sew. So, aren't you glad I didn't hold those up and say number 101, number 102, number 103? All of the information on what size they are, the price, all of that is on the website again, sewingbasket.biz, the shopping page, the category called window shopping. It's all there. A number of those panels are also on sale as a little treat for you. All right, so I'm going to talk about the back of pillows for a minute and how to get a little bit of texture. One of the things when you make a pillow, if you use just a single layer of cotton, even if it's beautiful quality quilter's cotton, it's still fairly fine compared to upholstery fabric that you're used to having sofa pillows out of. So what I do, because I want a little bit more oomph, a little bit stronger, a little more texture to my pillows, I always put some fusible batting on the back. I either use the Pellon 980, I believe it's 987 fusible fleece, just gets fused to the back. Otherwise, I also really like the Quilter's Dream Fusible. And this comes in either twin size, or we've got a throw size that's 60 by 60. That gets me a lot of pillows out of one set of batting. This is one-sided fusible, so I fuse my fat quarter for my back to that. And then what I did on this one is I gridded it. And I just did, let me rephrase that, Tina just did a 2-inch grid all the way around. How to do that 2-inch grid, or a grid of any type, this one we did with a smaller grid. These are done with a walking foot and quilting guides. Those of you who have the bigger Brother machines have the Move It foot, and this foot has an attachment that has a little bracket up here, and these bars slide right into the bracket. So it slides in like this. And I'm going to actually grab the single one and slide it in. It should go in easier than that. It's not going in because we're on camera. There you go. Okay, so all I'm doing, my needle is here. So I sew my first row. I'll mark if I'm going down the middle of my project. I'll mark the first one and I'll stitch that straight line. And then I move my quilting guide however far I want that next line. So I'll stitch it out to here, a little bit wider. That's about as wide as I can go. So now this guide is going along the line I just stitched, and it's stitching this. So I'm going to sew this way, and I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go here, and then I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to go in the opposite direction and just keep stitching. So I use that guide. So they're really handy. On this one, just moved it in really close and just line it up wherever you want it. So you're going to stitch along and then stitch along. So that's how that works on the Move It foot. It is an attachment. It is called the Dual Feed Quilting Guide. It's $36.99. I do have a couple there on the website. That works with the dual feed foot. Those of you who have a smaller regular size walking foot, they typically come with quilting guides as well. This hole in the back is where they slide through, and it works just like I talked about. This one actually has the double line. Again, it's just another way to mark, either a single or I can look and see. It's just I'm lining up here or here. It doesn't do anything funky with those two. It's just two different ways to line up. But it just hooks to your regular walking foot. And so that allows you to stitch a grid by just drawing that first line. Cheryl and I always kind of laugh when we talk about fast or frugal. Fast is using a guide, you mark one and away you go. Frugal is a piece of painter's tape. If I take a 1-inch, I stitch one line, and I take a blue piece of painter's tape, I lay it right in, I stitch next to the painter's tape. Don't stitch over the tape. It messes up your stitches and it is icky on your needle. Then I pick up my piece of tape, I move it over, I stitch on that side of the tape, and I keep moving the piece of tape every time I want to do a new grid. So it's frugal, but it takes a whole lot longer, but it is an option for you. So I end up with some type of quilting. I could use decorative stitches, I can scribble all over it, I can do anything that I want to, and all I'm doing is holding my batting onto my pillow. So I usually do this on my back. I also very often put batting on my front. I usually do it on both. This one started out as, I was going to use that as a pillow back. And then I decided that I liked it better as a pillow front. And so my other pillow that I showed you at the beginning with the red ties is all ties. This, I had one tie. My husband and I were big skiers for a lot of years. I think he wore this tie once in his life because he's probably worn a tie one time in the last 15 years. So I stole it out of his closet the other day and I put it on here. I liked the look of the black and white with the snow. But the other thing is, when we were skiing, we collected ski pins. And so I can put a pin in each little square. Now that's not going to be a very comfortable pillow. It would be cute for looks somewhere. The other option is I can frame this. And so instead of a pillow, it becomes a really cool wall hanging. The other thing that works nice with this, again, if these are Grandpa's ties, Grandpa probably had cufflinks, and he probably also had tie tacks. Each one of these squares would be a really neat way to showcase those tie tacks or cufflinks. So that's a real easy way to use just one tie and make a fun top. And I'm going to just show you this. This guy's been around for a long time. This is Danny and I when we got married in 1991, so going on 30 years. And these are pins. This I did years ago. This is a photo transfer picture, and then I just pinned the pins on here. So that type of pin is what I'm talking about putting on here. So I can do that as a picture frame as well. The photo transfers, this actually for 30 years has held up pretty well. And yes, his pants were neon green. It was 1991. Thank you very much. The photo transfer sheets that you use, we carry the EQ printables. These are, you run them through an inkjet printer. And the way that these come out, I hope Brittany doesn't mind. I had a little picture of our little friend Lillian in the computer. And this is the way that these work. There's fabric on the front and paper on the back. You run it through your printer. The directions are on here. You rinse it, and then it's ready to go. And all you do is peel the paper off the back, and you end up with your picture on fabric. And that's what this is. This is a picture that was printed on fabric and then sewn in. So I could also sew this onto a pillow if I wanted to. And the printable sheets, $25, $24.99. And there are 6 sheets in here, and they're 8.5 by 11 sheets. So those make great memory projects. And again, you've got time to get them done before Christmas if you're doing a simple little project. Doing okay so far? No questions? Kathy's nodding her head. You guys are you falling asleep, or are you interested? I hope it's interested. Okay, I'm going to switch for a few minutes and talk about different types of pillow backs. So I can do a really simple pillow back by just overlapping 2 pieces of fabric. This pillow is actually part of the quilt behind me. This quilt is called Garden Party, and I knew somebody would ask, so I did put the patterns up on the website. The quilt is called Garden Party. It is all applique. I did it all with decorative stitches, but the patterns are up there if you're interested. And the quilt is actually a 12-block quilt. You notice there are 6 blocks, and this one would be number 7. Yeah, that's about where I gave up on what I was doing, because once I realized how much I liked this 6 blocks, this is a perfect size for a wall hanging in the space that I have at home. So I decided if I made it 12 blocks, I really didn't want it that big. I already had 7 made, so 6 went into the quilt, the other one became the pillow. And the back is just overlapped. And I'm going to show you how to do that with my 2 little pieces of fabric here. I've got 2 pieces. I usually use 2 fat quarters. I pulled them and made them a little bit smaller here so that they fit on camera. And all I'm going to do is just press it over about 1 inch. It doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to just press it over. We're working in a new space, and I've realized I need my outlet on that side of me. So I'll have an extension cord for next time. But I'm just pressing this over 2 times, and it's not holding real well. So I'm going to use a little bit of Best Press with our favorite spray bottles. The reason that spray bottle is one of my favorites is you squeeze it once and it keeps going rather than having to pump, pump, pump. And it sprays a really nice light mist. So I'm going to do that on both pieces. And yes, I should use best press and press that as well, but I'm not going to make you watch me do that. So I've got two pieces. I'm now just going to top stitch right along this edge, just to hold that piece down. The reason I do an inch or so here, a little wider, is if you only do a ½ inch, the pillows tend to pull a little bit, and it looks skimpy if you only do a real narrow piece. So I'll usually use an inch or two when I roll over. And then the way the pillow goes together, this again would be stitched here, this would be stitched here. Remember, you're stitching from this side, so your bobbin thread is going to show. So be sure you match your bobbin thread to whatever your project is. And then I'm going to just overlap these two. And I want them to overlap by at least 4 or 5 inches. And then I'm going to take my pillow top. Oddly enough, I don't have a pillow right here. I'm going to pretend this black piece of fabric is a pillow. Okay, that's my top. I'm going to, this is the right side. I'm putting them right sides together. I sew around all 4 sides, and then I reach in here and I flip it right side out. So it's really easy, no hard project at all, just 2 pieces overlapped. If I want to, I can grab my buttonhole foot. Those of you who haven't played with your automatic buttonholer, it's really fun. All you're doing is pushing this open. You put your buttonhole inside, or excuse me, your buttonhole. You put your button inside, clamp it on just like any other foot. You pull down a little lever and hit the button, and it stitches a buttonhole exactly the size of your button. And I would put either one in the middle or 2 or 3 buttons along there. So I'd do 3 buttonholes, and then the buttons on the other side. So you can do a button closure if you want, but if you overlap them enough, the button is optional. I'll show you another one here. This is one that's overlapped, and this is a hand quilted piece that I did years ago for my parents' wedding. Did some beading on here, used a lot of different texture, wool and velvet. This is from a Baltimore album quilting book, and some of these dimensional textures are in those books. We just got a new one in. I'm sorry, I don't remember the name of it. It's got a red cover, and it's a great book. If you're interested in that, we have it in the shop. I do not have it on the website. If you have an interest, you can type a message, and I can give you the name of the book. But this is just a quilt block that I made that this is overlapped. And they always pull just a little bit when you sit on them and crunch them. A button will keep that from happening. But again, this is just a commemorative one with the date of my parents' wedding on it. So it's just kind of a great memory piece also. All right. Where to go next? So that's our simple overlapped back. Okay. Next, I'm going to take a break for 1 second and pick up 3 pillows here. These are from our Rachel's Heart project, and a couple of the ladies that made these, many of you have made pillows for us. We truly appreciate it. Rachel's Heart is our project that is a thank you to all of the donor families who have lost a loved one and donated their organs. This pattern is free to you. It's on our website. I did put it on the Windows page. It also is on our online classes page. It is free. You do have to sign up because you'll get an email that gives you the code to go in and access the pattern and information. But this is called Rachel's Heart, and these are all just overlapped as well in the back. The nice thing about doing pillows, or I should say another nice thing about doing pillows, is that they're great practice pieces. This one, the heart is all gridded. It'd be a great place to try that guide foot. It's a small project. If you're wanting to learn how to paper piece or learn how to applique, a pillow is a great place to practice that technique. You might find that, ooh, I really don't like that technique. You only have to do this much. When you're learning how to embroider, this is a great size You can make a block. Here she added just a real small border, and it's a great spot to put in applique blocks. This one they were practicing, again, the outside here is probably a little hard to see. This is gridded, and then this is outlined as well. And so these are called Rachel's Heart, and if you are, I know a lot of ladies say, I just don't have anybody to make some, I don't have anybody to make a gift for. You can donate these to us. Once a year we connect with the Wisconsin Donor Network, and all of these pillows we take and deliver them to their event where family members who have lost someone all get to pick a pillow. So that's our Rachel's Heart project, and it's a great way to practice and a nice little pillow. And oh, by the way, flat, it's a wall hanging, it's a table topper, 3 of them make a table runner. You're starting to get that process down. When I'm talking pillows, it doesn't have to be a pillow. All right. While we're on the subject of embroidery, we talked about embroidery a few minutes ago, and my toes are hitting this cutting board. Excuse me for just 1 second here. Sorry about that. So this is 4 embroidered blocks that are stitched together and made into a pillow. And it looks pretty nice. It's really a pretty pattern. This is Sewn Seeds by Hoop Sisters. Looks really nice. I just did the overlap back like we showed you a minute ago. But when you look up close, it's not well pressed. Okay? Didn't look bad from the front, but when you look at it from the side, it doesn't look real nice. So I'm going to just do a real quick little lesson on how to perfect that seam. What you want to do is grab your mist bottle, and I'm going to just pull it apart. So I'm kind of opening that seam. Can you see that okay, Tina?
Yes,
And I'm
ma'am.
going to mist this, and then I'm going to grab my little iron, and I'm just going to use the tip of the iron, and I'm going to push this apart. And all I'm doing is opening this seam to try to open this. Once I do that, I'm going to use my fingers, and I'm going to kind of roll it so that I get the front fabric coming to the front and the back fabric going to the back. And once I get that nice and flat, I'm going to mist it again. And actually this one I'm going to do from the back because the back is a little bit thinner. I'm going to mist that real well. And I'm going to heat it up with my iron. And then I'm going to take my clapper, my sewing basket clapper, and I'm going to press down on here. What that's doing is the moisture and the heat have loosened all the fibers, and the heat helps compress and condense the bulk. By putting the clapper on here, it's compressing it, it's setting that seam narrower, and it's soaking the moisture out, so that sets it nice and thin. So I look at that, that's about half as thick as over here. So if I want to do a top stitch, I get a really nice finish. On this pillow, I'm not going to top stitch, but it compresses it so I can do a really nice top stitch. And I'm going to do that all the way around. One of the videos that is on our YouTube channel, again, the playlist that we set up for today is called Window Shopping. Our YouTube channel is The Sewing Basket, and look under playlists and you'll see the tonight's window shopping. One of the videos in there is on pressing techniques, and it will give you a lot more detail on all types of pressing techniques, including the clapper and the pressing stick. So along with the pressing video, there's one on straightening panels, there's one on another pillow we're going to be making in a few minutes. There's one on how to make the trivets and the placemats that we talked about first. I think there's 8 or 9 in there, so be sure to check that out. All right, next pillow back that we're going to talk about is zippers. These little guys are from last year's Santa's Workshop. Cute little trees. This one just has a flange around it. this one, aside from some fuzz, I used bias tape as a decoration. There is also a bias tape, how to use bias tape makers video in the YouTube channel as well. These are made from our Cut Your Own panel. That pattern is on the website. These are great for the holidays. They also are really nice if you have a cottage up north. They work great for that. And these both have a zipper back. What the zipper back does is it allows me to take a pillow form in and out so I can clean the pillow cover, but also I don't have to buy 20 different pillow forms. I have a couple pillow forms and I just swap the covers at different times of the year. So this one is just a single layer of cotton fabric with the zipper sewn in, and I'm going to show you how to do that with this little piece of fabric. I want to just turn under about an inch, and then I'm going to not use this hot pink zipper really, but I'm going to turn this under about an inch, press it, and then I'm going to stitch my zipper in. But when I'm trying to press over a small section of fabric, it's really hard to get it straight and not burn your fingers. So this little guy is called a hot ruler. It is a ruler. It's 2.5 inches wide, and I think it's, oh, I don't know, about 10 inches long. But it's made out of like a felt type product, so it doesn't get hot. Although its name is hot ruler, it really doesn't get hot. And so if I want to turn this over half an inch, all I do is roll this over right along the edge of the ruler. Get to the end, just scoot it down and keep going. And it gives me a really nice clean press, and I haven't burned my fingers. Just press that down, and that gives me a really nice pressed edge. For my pillow, if I want to, this is a raw edge. If I attach this to my zipper right here, it's perfectly fine. It'll look nice from the outside. You'll have a little bit of a raw edge in the inside. If you don't want to take the time, you don't have to. I won't look inside your pillow if you don't look inside mine. But if you don't like that, just give it one more roll over and a press, and that gives you a finished edge. And I'm going to attach my zipper next. And there's a couple different ways. Back in home ec class tells you how old I am. I don't remember what they call it now, domestic engineering or something, I'm not sure. Home arts, I don't know what they call it, but it's still home ec to me, sorry. You pin the zipper in. And I always found I was humping and bumping over those pins and I never got a nice straight line. The other thing is, the zipper pull always got in the way and it made my stitching bobble. So what I like to do is I use a zipper that's just a little bit longer than my project, and I use either glue stick or double stick tape. Glue stick, just simple. This is a fabric glue stick, 100% washable. I just run a piece of glue stick or a line of glue stick along there, and I put the fold of the fabric, and actually I want to be just inside here because I've got a little bit hanging off each end. So I'm going to take off, I'm going to cut off the stop at one end and this at the other end once I get it sewn in place. So I can use my glue stick. The other option is double stick tape. This is wash away double stick tape. And of course I can't find the end of it because it's a brand new piece. Okay. So all I'm going to do, I'm going to just tear off a piece, but I would run this the whole length of my zipper. I would use either glue stick or two-way stick tape. You don't need both, but obviously I'm just showing you in a demo here. And what I'm doing is I'm running this tape along the outside edge of the zipper. not close to the zipper teeth, along the outside edge. And I'm going to push that down hard all the way along that edge. And then I'm going to go back, give it a really good press, and then I'm going to peel the paper side off. And this was the end here. There we go. The paper will come up. If you have trouble getting it off, just use a pin and scratch it. That'll score it and allow you to pull the paper off. So now this side is sticky. And so all I'm going to do is lay that fold right next to the zipper teeth. And it just lays right in there really nicely. Okay. So I'm going to hold that up to the camera for you, Tina, so you can see how close that is to the zipper teeth. And then I have my choice when I go to sew. I can use my regular foot, just a plain old foot, and I can set my needle close to the zipper, put the edge of my foot right along the zipper teeth, and just sew. I can use my zipper foot that came with my machine. Most of them nowadays look like this. There are two little bars here. You hook your ankle bracket that's attached to your machine to one side or the other. And it just snaps in, okay? And you set your needle to the side so that it doesn't hit the foot, that it goes through the little hole. And I have it on the wrong side to sew the way I am here. So I'm going to run this. There's a ridge on the bottom of this foot. That ridge runs right along the zipper teeth. So the foot actually rides on top of, can you see that okay, Tina?
Yes.
Okay. That ridge actually rides right on top of the zipper teeth. And so I'm going to go right across here, and it's going to sew, looks like it's really, really close to the zipper. It is really, really close to the zipper. And that's fine. The zipper will still open and close. Works great. And I'm going to just grab this one. The back of this one, you can see how close that zipper stitching is to the edge of the zipper. It makes the zipper almost invisible. All you see is the teeth. If I have a bright colored funky zipper that I like, I tend to stitch a little bit further away so that I see the color of the zipper and use that as kind of a design element. And the other foot that I like a lot, I use often, is it's an additional foot for your machine. It's called the narrow zipper foot. And it's really fine, and it just hooks into your ankle, and it rides right next to the zipper teeth, where the double-sided one actually rides on top of the zipper teeth. This one runs right next to the zipper teeth. This one works wonderful for piping as well. It's one of the reasons I like that foot and invested in it. So once I have that side done, I do the exact same thing on the other side. And that is just one piece of fabric with my edge rolled over. Often, as I said earlier, I like to put interfacing or batting on my back to give my pillow more body. It's a little less expensive this way because you don't have to pay for the interfacing, but the back of your pillow can be a little, we'll say, wimpy, for lack of a better term. They work fine, but they'll just wear better with a little bit of extra support. So I tend to use, when I'm doing a pillow back, I typically grab 2 fat quarters. We're going to pretend this is a fat quarter. And I fold it in half. So I have a double layer of fabric and a fold here. And that's what this is. It's a double layer of fabric. And I just stitched here. And I stitch here. So the back of my pillow is a double layer of fabric. And that is what, be sure I grab the right one here. Yeah. This one is folded over, double side, so there's 2 layers of fabric here. The one I showed you earlier with the tree was just 1 layer of fabric. It just gives you a little smoother back, a little bit nicer finish. So, and that again, it's just a fold, glue stick or 2-way stick tape, stick it right on and stitch. Some people say, oh, well, that zipper's kind of loose. Well, you can go back and top stitch. That's not a problem. It's perfectly fine with 1 row of stitching. But if you like 2 rows of stitching, I really like double needles. You can use a double needle and get 2 rows of stitching at one time. You have to be careful what foot you use when you're using a double needle. But we're going to talk about double needles for just a minute, because we can do lots of fun stitching. Oh, I stepped on that when it fell down below here. There we go. So these are all done with a double needle. 2 different colors of thread, a black and a pink I put in on this. The way that a double needle works is it has 1 shaft and 2 needles. Okay? So when you take out your regular needle, you pull your regular needle out, you put this in, so the single shaft goes right in just like it were a single needle, flat to the back, just like any other needle, and then you have 2 needles and 2 eyes. Okay? The way that you thread your machine, you thread your machine just like you would normally. Do not use your automatic needle threader. It will break your automatic needle threader because there's no eye in the middle. So you have to thread the needle manually. So run your thread through and thread 1 eye. Then run your second thread through. If you do not have 2 spindles, a lot of you have a smaller machine that just has 1 spindle, I highly recommend this technical method where you take your favorite coffee mug. Oh, was that a little pushy? Your favorite sewing basket coffee mug, and I put my excuse me. I put my coffee mug behind my machine. I just set the thread in the coffee mug. I put it right behind the machine. I come up from the back of the machine over the top, thread it exactly like the first one. Through all up 1, 2, 3, 4, through all your stitching, exactly in the same place. So you've got 2 threads threaded through your machine, and then you thread the eye of the second needle. So you have 2 spools of thread, you have 1 bobbin thread, and 2 needles that are both threaded. And then when you stitch, you can get really cool looking stuff. And the double needle, if I stitch, obviously, a row along here, it gives me a double row of stitching. Double needles come in different sizes. I have them on the website. This one is a 2.5, that's the distance between. I believe I have 2, 2.5, 3.0, and 4.0 all on the website. And so they're available. They make decorative stitching really, really fun. So that is how you use a double needle. Also, again on YouTube, in the playlist for today, there is a video there on playing with multiple threads and double needles. So that's available for you. All right. That's pretty much so far. Everybody still hanging in there with me? All right. Getting down to last few projects here. I'm going to talk about that tie pillow. I think I flung that one over there somewhere, the red and blue one. Oh, no, sorry. Right here behind me where I left it because I knew I'd need it again. This is made out of ties. So all I did on this is I took a piece of batting and I took my first tie and I just laid it across here. Okay? And I can use a little bit of 505 spray based. I could use glue stick, or I can use pins. If you use pins, I really like, these are the Quilter Select. They're really, really sharp. And oh, by the way, they have a magnet, so they don't fall out on you. Okay, 1 out of 100. They're really sharp and they're strong. So I can pin into the thickness of a tie and not snag. If your pins are dull, you'll snag your fabric, and on tie fabric, you will get a snag and it will look terrible. So all I did is I put my first tie in place, either with pins or 505, and then this is really technical. Really technical. You go like this. Okay? And then you take your second piece of tie. Okay, now you're going to see all kinds of people tell you all different ways to do ties. I leave all of the interfacing in my ties. I like my pillow to have body, whether I'm making a pillow, whatever I'm making out of it. I made my mother-in-law a table runner out of her dad's ties. And you say a table runner out of ties. Looked really cool, just all different. The nice thing about her dad's ties, they were all from about 1970, so they're 100% polyester. They wash and wear like iron. When she gave them to me after he passed away, she said, "You like fabric, would you like Grandpa's ties?" I said, "Sure." She gave me this giant bag of ties. They were all still tied. Grandpa Fred pulled down the tie, put it over his head, flipped it back, and slid the knot back up. Grandpa Fred was over 90 when he passed. There were a fair number of gravy stains on those ties. So I untied them all, and I thought, it's 1970s polyester, I can't hurt these things. I took them all, I threw them in the washing machine. Do not do this with silk ties or really good quality ties. Polyester is wonderful for this. Threw them in the washer, threw them in the dryer. They came out like the day they were bought at the store. Perfectly flat, perfectly smooth, not a stain on a thing, wonderful. Hence the table runner. If it gets slopped on, not a problem, throw that runner in the washer. Again, don't do that with silk ties. But I like my ties to have body. A lot of the books and patterns that you see will say open the tie and take it all apart and take this out and do this, do that. I like the quick way, I like texture. So I take my first one, this is a chunk of one left from here, and I can just decide however I like it. And all I'm going to do is lay it down, and I'm going to overlap it by about 1/8 of an inch. And the stitch that I used, I practiced on a scrap, and it's just a stitch that goes straight and it takes a bite to each side. What that does is it holds all those ties down. Okay? So all I'm doing, and I do it one tie at a time, put the first one down, pin it. I used 505. I just a little spritz of 505 to hold it in place. Pins if you want, nice strong sharp ones. I lay the next one down, and then I stitch. And I clip off this end. And then I grab the next chunk, and I do this. I could put them this way, I can do whatever I want, but all of the interfacing is still in them. It's a quick project, and it gives you a pillow that has nice texture and density to it. The advantage, if you do take the ties apart, if I start to pull this apart, you'll see there's a lot of fabric there. Pull it just a little wider here. Give me one snip here. Okay. So if I take all of the interfacing out, I get a lot more fabric. I don't really want the fabric. What means something to me is these were Grandpa's ties. I want the look of ties. The fabric is lovely if I wanted to do something else, but when I'm doing a pillow or a throw or something with ties, I want it to look and feel like they were ties. So that's all there is to that project. Questions, comments? Everybody still hanging with us?
They're still here.
Getting down there. All right, thanks for hanging out. We're getting down there. This one is an applique. This is Cuddle fabric. We have a trick and technique that we use for this. We use some interfacing and stabilizers that are used for the embroidery machine, but work great on the sewing machine. I'm not going to go through the how-to. There is a full video on this on our YouTube page. You'll see a picture of the Joy pillow right on the front. It's about a 30 or 40 minute video that goes step by step, shows you exactly what to do. It also shows you how to put the zipper in the back. And if you don't remember anything that I said today, remember that there's more tips and tricks on the website and on the YouTube channel. The other thing is, remember, you don't have to remember all this stuff. You can pause the video. You can play it back later to remember what you were doing. You can fast forward me if you're sick of me. I get that. Okay. And in the memory thing and quick gifts, don't forget t-shirts. T-shirts make great pillows. You can add borders, you can do anything you want to them. Really quick, really easy pillows. I know a lot of people, oh yeah, no, I can't cut up his Packer shirt. He'll be really mad at me. Go to the resale store, find a Packer logo that's in decent shape, and turn that one into a pillow. That way he'll like his Christmas present more than if you cut up his favorite shirt. All right, one last method, well, sort of last method, of another way to put things together. This is kind of a quilt as you go method. And I'm going to grab, I've got a little mini demo here. This is a really cute panel that is hungry animals. You can see I've cut it apart. I picked out the letters that I wanted, and I've taken one piece, and this was going to make a little tiny pillow for a Dolly's bed. I picked the W because my last name is West, and oh, by the way, I love this because this is great for little kids and big kids. As they learn their alphabet, they've got the W, and it's like, oh yeah, that's a walrus, and that's a watermelon. As the kids get older, they realize that it's a wedge of watermelon, and he's sitting in a wing-back chair, and he has a wicker table. So they add more and more complex things so that you can do a I Spy or a game playing with kids of different ages. So the way that this is done, I took my little square with my W on it, and I just put a piece of batting on the back. Okay, this piece was 7.5 inches square. My back piece is 9.5 inches, and I center another piece of batting on it. Okay, so that gives my back texture, and this piece gives my front texture. And I set this on here. I thought I had another one cut out, so, oh, hang on. Nope, I don't. Sorry, I thought I had another one cut out. So I just set my other letter on here. They go right on the top. So this is my front, this is my back, and then I take this, I stitch around 3 sides. So I now have an opening at the top. This is my opening at the top. Okay, sewn around 3 sides. Now I take my backing fabric, I fold this in half and roll it forward. And that's what I've done on here. This is the last side to be done. This is folded in half and rolled up. And once I stuff that, I will stitch across. So the back wraps to the front. Okay, hope that makes sense. You just fold this in half and roll it forward. And I do that around 3 sides. I then stuff it, and then I finish my top edge. And so it's completely sewn all the way around. The other thing I can do is, you know, we've talked about if it's flat, it's a coaster, it's a placemat. Yep, I could do all that. But this one, if I just put a binding around the top and I add a little strap, I now have a little girl's purse. If I do it bigger, I have a tote bag. So this is just whatever size your front is, your back is 2 inches bigger. So you have 1 inch all the way around to roll your edges. So that can be a pillow. And that looks like this when it's done. Okay, the back was black. This is just some applique, stuff it, roll the edge. This is another pillow, same thing. This was a leftover embroidery piece, just added a pink frame around it. The back is green, the green wraps to the front. So super easy way to do it. Oh, by the way, if I don't stuff it, this one has decor bond in it. It's a little bent here, but it's just a placemat. Just like a table trivet. Again, the back, easy way to make placemats. Just have some batting in the middle, wrap the back to the front, turn the edge over. This one, black back, badger fabric. This is a napkin. It's not stuffed, it's completely sewn. I got some good fuzzes on there. I have 2 pieces of fabric. Yes, they pull apart, but they don't. They just hug each other. They come out of the wash. Take them out when they're damp dry. Don't dry them to a crackly, crunchy, crispy finish. Take them out when they're damp dry. Just lay them flat, and they work beautifully. Just cute little napkins. So I have a pillow, I have a tote bag, I have a placemat, I have a napkin. All from the same thing. And the very last thing, hang in there with me for a minute yet. This was from the Hungry Animal as well. And I thought, oh, wouldn't this be cute? Spell out Kate. Just the whole thing. And then I realized some of the letters are doubled. So my K is the same letter as the L. The 8 are good if I, wanted to say I ate lunch. But I was disappointed I didn't like that particular letter. There are 5 or 6 letters that are duplicated. So my thought with this was, oh, what a sweet little bedtime pillow. I can just add a border around the sides. And I sewed the blocks together. I made some bias tape, and I was just going to put bias tape in between each one. And then my borders are just going to be my black polka dot. It's still cute, but you could say Kate is late. This one actually makes 2 words, but it also would be sweet with just initials as well, but a cute little panel to be able to play with that. There are fat quarter bundles that match this fabric, and a couple little bundles just to mention to you, show you a couple new things that are in. Lots of new things. Again, everything is on the website. We appreciate it if you order from us. After all we've shown you, if you have something that you like, we sure appreciate your support. These are the fat quarters that match the Comfort and Joy panel. It's all the deer and the Santas, and then just some coordinates with that. This one is sweet. I showed you earlier the unicorn panel. Unicorns are so popular right now. This is a sweet little girls set. Unicorns, swirls, little plus signs, stars, hearts, and little zigzag. What cute pillows you could make out of these kind of fabrics. This one is the coordinate for the Hungry Animal. This is all of the animals that coordinate and match with the panel. And then there are plaids, polka dots, and then just a real cute little script fabric that goes with it. And for the adults out there, we just got in 12 bolts of brand new, these are travel fabrics. And boy, somebody tied that one tight, which is wonderful. It won't fall apart, but it also doesn't let me get it apart. There's 2 different fat quarter bundles here, and these are all travel related. And that's always hard to find. So this is all names of countries, and then there are coordinates that go with it that are just lovely. And that combination of teal and gold is really interesting.
It's one of my favorite new ones.
It is pretty, isn't it? And then we added a gold Stonehenge with it. So that's 1 set of 6. And then these have the matte fabric and the airplanes. And again, kind of a stone texture, as well as that one. This one has airplanes in with the maps. The airplanes are kind of swirling in the sky. And this last one looks like city streets. Kind of a city map. So just kind of fun. So we do have these on the bolt as well. Lots of new things in the shop. We hope you enjoyed window shopping tonight. We hope you understand why we wanted to do this a little more as a teaching and inspiration. Again, you can go back, pause this, watch it over again. It'll be on Daily Dose tomorrow. It will also stay on the Facebook page live, so you can access it from there. All of the products that we talked about are on the website. Also on the website is many, many other things. As I said, we've got probably 50 different fat quarter bundles out there. Lots of products and tools, great Christmas gifts for quilters. We appreciate your support. I would ask if you happen to go to our YouTube channel, if you subscribe, that really helps us. If we get a certain number of viewers, we can actually start to stream from there, which has some advantages to it. So if you like us, share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel, hang out at our website and our Facebook groups. We really appreciate it. We hope you've enjoyed this. If you would, make a comment and tell me what your favorite suggestion was. It's always interesting to see. So whether you're watching it on Facebook or you're watching it on YouTube or Daily Dose, if you send us a comment and let us know what your favorite tip is, it's always interesting to find out what you like. And if you thought it stunk, I'm really sorry, and I guess you won't watch us next time, but we sure hope you do. Really appreciate your time. Have a great evening, and if we don't see you beforehand, have a very Merry Christmas. Thanks so much.